Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extraterrestrials, undesirable invaders from another world, the must be destroyed if possible in our dark past. Watch out and pray.
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, government agent Xi Jinping's spies, and anybody who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. I am one of your hosts, Tasker, as usual, and our other hosts, we have Nick.
Ooh, boy, am I excited for today's episode. I am so excited, guys.
It's going to be topical. It's going to be interesting and hopefully educational. We are, of course, going into the I really have like all these like pronunciations written down so I don't screw them up, but the Jiangshi is what they're called. The Chinese hopping vampire. Yeah. Oh, okay. Before we even begin, you're already on the wrong foot with this. So I set aside a little, and I made time to do this. A little side note here, Nick. We got to do a little one-on-one before we start this. Okay, are you ready?
What's going on? What is this?
Okay, so I know what you're thinking.
Is this an intervention?
Yes, we are talking about something I mentioned before, topical. Of course, we have COVID-19 that's ravaging the planet right now and stuff. And the topic we're going through, because I mean, we have this weird hard-on with vampires, so we were going to do this subject anyways. I figured, since we're talking about something from China, there's a couple guidelines I'd like you to follow for this episode.
Hold on. We never talked about any fucking guidelines.
Now, hey, man,
last time I checked, this was America, all right?
I understand, but also, too, we need to, there's some respect that needs to be given to, the possible victims of racism and what happened with basically, here's just the rules you have to listen to. Is number one, no blaming Chinese people for causing or created COVID-19. Okay. 2, no insinuating that any Asian culture or people are the primary carriers of COVID-19, because we remember the virus affects all humans and all of this is out of our control. And 3, we are going to show respect to the innocent victims who suffered abuse due to the blaming of China or other Asian cultures for COVID-19. And most importantly, number 4, no goddamn accents.
Hold the fuck on. Hold on. I can agree with 1 through 3. I can agree with those.
Okay.
The 4th one is a little bit fucked up, though.
Hey, come on, man. It's well, first of all, this episode's already going to get us like banned in China. It was only a matter of time, but
yeah, but dude, that Winnie the Pooh looking motherfucker will ban like the Teletubbies.
Very, very true. But I figure, if we're diving into something, I mean, of course, we're not talking about COVID-19, but if we're dealing with Chinese history and all that stuff, I just want to make sure that we're going into this, not relating to that at all.
All right, look, I will try to abide by your rules. You cornered me with, by the way, this was a trap. This was a trap. Mm-hmm. My freedom of speech has been taken from me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I will try my best for you and for the listener to abide by these rules. The 4th one is still a little bit iffy for me. If it slips out on an episode about a Chinese vampire, I'm sorry. All right. I will apologize ahead of time.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. But of course, just a brief moment before we start, of course, all due respect to all the people who are suffering because of their cultural background and people thinking and blaming them for this disease that is not their fault. That sucks. And we hope that nobody has to suffer through that.
I will say it does suck. And I'm sorry that if anybody has to go through that, and it is messed up, it's messed up. So I will not be blaming anybody. I'm not going to do it. All right. So I'm sorry. All right. It's just like, maybe don't. All right. Let's just move on. Let's move on.
See, you're getting it, dude. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm sure I can grow. I'm a human. I can grow. I can, I can develop.
Yeah. And see, this episode is interesting first attempt we have at trying to be empathetic. Is that the word?
Your first attempt.
It's a growing process, like for both of us.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get into the actual information. That's on you. So take it away.
All right, boys and girls. So now that we've gotten that weird bullshit out of the way that Tasker just threw at me, right? That was kind of blindsiding. Let's get into today's episode. Now, we're going to be talking about the Jiangshi, is a reanimated corpse in Chinese folklore similar to a vampire or a zombie. Also has the nickname the hopping vampire, which we'll get into a little bit later. In this episode, we will explore its features, characteristics, some legends that accompany the Jiangshi, and ways you can protect yourself from one of these creatures should you ever find yourself in China.
And right out the gate, I think a lot of people have seen this in popular culture and not realized it. There's actually Jiangshis are all over the place. It's mostly, of course, in content that comes from more like Asian countries and stuff. But if you see the picture, it's one of those you've probably seen it somewhere or another. So this isn't as niche and low key as it seems.
Yeah, I mean, over there, it's just as popular as a Western vampire here,
Oh, snap. See, there you go.
All right. Well, first, let's get into what a Jiangshi literally means. By the way, hard or stiff, and originally used for a word corpse. So it's kind of like my wildest dreams, right?
Got a fat Jiangshi in the morning.
Yeah. So let's talk about what the Jiangshi is and how one becomes cursed as one. Stated before, the Jiangshi are the living dead, somewhere between a vampire and a zombie. And there are many ways that a person can become this creature after initial death, including dying by way of a violent death. Kind of like sitting through an Adam Sandler movie, you know what I mean?
At least after Waterboy and what's that? That one I really like, Happy Gilmore. That was good, Adam Sandler. But I hear everything else. Well, I don't know. It was an Uncut Gems. Did you ever watch it? I never did.
I never watched it. I heard that was his return to not shitty movies, but I haven't watched it. But yeah, it's if I had to sit through 50 First Dates again or something, that would be a violent death for me. So.
I thought that. Well, it was okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. Anyways,
another way that you can become Jiangshi is by committing suicide.
Ouch.
Another is being hanged. So, hopefully you don't live in the 1800s. Otherwise, I don't think you have much of a thing to worry about.
Yeah. Was hangings, is that an 1800s thing?
Oh, yeah. I played Red Dead Redemption, man.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh,
I'm essentially a history major at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you played how many hours of that game? 130?
Fucking too many, dude. And I was drinking whiskey the whole time. Right? I was in character. So, of course, when you walk into a saloon, you're not going to just be sober, you know what I mean?
That's very, very true. Did you just have assless chaps and a cowboy hat and sipping your whiskey and had a real loaded pistol with you at all times?
Yep.
That's kind of impressive, actually. That's committing.
No, it's surprising I got through that November, dude. That was crazy.
Hey, dude, people in the Wild West used to do that every single day, so it's not too far off from the human spirit to pull that off.
I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
Another way you can become one is by drowning. So, hopefully you people out there know how to swim.
Yep. That's swimming. I'm kind of surprised there's so many people out there who don't know how to swim. Not that I'm judging people who can't. It's just, I would think that people's parents would want them to learn how to swim as soon as possible instead of just completely depriving them of that. Cause that's
think about it, man. Look at the parents that we have today. We are in the generation of the newer parents, right? People who are just now having kids. And then think about our classmates in high school prioritizing swimming over. Dude, these are the same people who don't want to give their kids vaccines. You think that they're going to throw their kid in the pool because they're afraid that the pool will probably cause autism or something like that.
Probably chlorine or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't know. And maybe the reason I'm so passionate about that is because literally all you're doing is giving your kid a huge Achilles heel. That's all it takes is a shove and they're dead. Yeah, teach your kids how to swim.
Teach your kids how to swim, and also not only for that reason, but also he's going to just be called a nerd for the rest of his life too if he can't swim. Right? Think about it. They're going to the lake house in high school. You know, you got some of your, you know, you got your crushes going, and your friends are going, and your crush wants to go skinny dipping with you, and you're like, oh, I can't fucking swim because my parents never taught me how to swim, dude. You're gonna call you a nerd and give you a wet willy. Like, come on, think about your kid in the future.
If I was a teenager and a bunch of like, you know, the group of like your girls and stuff all are like, hey, let's go skinny dipping, and I didn't know how to swim, at that point I would go just exactly to drown in that moment, because I know I'd never be able to live with myself. And then apparently after that I would turn into a Jiangshi.
Yeah, so you're fucking up either way.
Yep. So pick your poison.
You can even become a Jiangshi if you were not given a proper burial after death, right? So if you die, doesn't matter really how, and let's say you die in a way that's not on this list, right? Like, let's say you get hit by a wagon. I don't know what they have in China, right? Like a wagon with like a horse carrying it, right?
Sure.
They hit you in the middle, and you get hit in the middle of the road, and instead of burying you and then saying some kind of prayer, they take your wallet, smack you on the butt a couple times, and throw you into a ditch. You'd probably become a Jiangshi because you weren't given a proper burial.
Especially that butt smack. I think that's really what like really cements it down.
That's just straight up disrespectful, man.
Exactly.
And all of these methods that we just mentioned of death have one thing in common as far as the soul is concerned. It's not able to leave the body in peace. And because of that, the person is cursed to walk the earth as an undead Jiangshi. There are even more ways that an already dead person can become a Jiangshi, right? So you don't necessarily have to have just died a certain way. There are ways that an old corpse can become a Jiangshi, basically.
So Jiangshis are really pulling from everything. So there's a little bit of Frankenstein monster in there.
A little bit of Frankenstein monster, exactly. A little bit of Friday the 13th action too with that Jason Voorhees, you know?
Yeah. Oh, those things would be creepy with those masks.
Hell yeah, dude. And the first one is if the corpse is struck by lightning. And that's why I brought up Friday the 13th. Like, you remember? Which one was it, dude? Was it, I forgot which one it is. One of them starts off with Jason's corpse, and then some dude stuck like a spear into him made of like a metal fence rod, and then it got struck by lightning and brought him back to life, dude.
Ooh. See, I've only seen the first one, and it was great. I am such a sucker for like that, because we all know I'm a huge fraidy cat, but that's why I love old horror movies instead of the newer ones, because they rely less on jump scares, or the jump scares really aren't that bad and the effects are really cheesy, but it's still just a crazy gore fest and stuff. It's fun.
Oh yeah, slashers are my favorite horror movie subgenre. I don't care how cheesy it is. I don't care how many times it's been done. I will watch any of those shits.
Yeah, cheesier the better, honestly. Like, my favorite is what is it? Nightmare on Elm Street, when like his arms stretch out, but if you look really close, you can see like the wires and shit. The best. And people were like shitting themselves from that. Like, dude, even The Exorcist, which is still a pretty creepy movie. It holds up. But like back then, people were like passing out in the theaters and stuff from it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, different. They were not used to seeing that shit. Like, The Exorcist came out in what, the late 70s, mid 70s, something like that.
Yeah.
So, and then picture seeing some little girl, right, possessed by a demon, and then turning her head all the way around.
Ooh.
They're not used to seeing that, because like back in the day, that was some pretty good effects, man.
Right.
I mean, that's just mind blowing to me. Now I look back on it and it looks stupid as shit, but I can still respect it. I can respect the movie, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's a creepy movie, and it's a lot like what was another practical effects one, was the Evil Dead, the first one.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's all like claymation, but it's still pretty unsettling to look at. And even though it's obviously fake, and I mean, of course, that's what, transformed into modern horror and all that stuff. But I do think it's interesting how, if you're not exposed to like the more real, it's like the more real it gets, it really truly does desensitize. Because if you've never had any exposure to horror whatsoever, you could just see a kind of weird looking girl, and it's like the scariest shit you've ever seen in your life.
That's true.
Yeah. Also, what was it? Growing up, my dad would tell me about The Exorcist, and when we were like driving home, and I couldn't sleep for like fucking like 5 months.
Well, aren't you glad you're on my podcast now, where we can just yell at you about scary shit, and you don't sleep for like, I don't know, until what, 3 a.m. because you keep hearing shit.
Yeah. It's that classic thing of like, when you're not thinking about it, it's fine. But when you've like kind of like briefly glossed over the memory of a horror movie, suddenly you hear every single fucking noise and you're like, well, okay, sleeping with the lights on, electricity bill is going to double, but hey, it's better than dying.
Exactly. Whatever makes you feel better, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
The second way that a already dead person, a corpse, if you will, I believe that's what they're called in the sciencey realms, become a Jiangshi, is if it's jumped over, or if a pregnant cat jumps over the corpse.
What?
Yes, it has to be a pregnant cat. Like, it cannot be a regular ass cat. Been knocked up and then jump over a corpse in order for it to become a Jiangshi.
Interesting. That is on the list of things I expected. That was very low.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Very low.
Yeah, what gives that? Well, I guess like cats have always kind of had a supernatural twist to them, and I guess, and also they say, just with like people, like a pregnant woman, there's supposedly that like connection to like life giving. There's that sort of, oh shit, I just answered my own question, because pregnancy, pregnancy, it's life giving. So, god damn, we're good.
God, dude, that's why I keep you around.
Fuck yeah, I feel my use. Feels good.
Right. Another origin can be found in the belief that Chinese migrants who died outside of the country were to be returned to China so their departed spirits don't become homesick. So corpse divers were said to be hired to do the job with necromancy. Hence, the necromantic paper talisman that is generally on the Jiangshi's face.
I have always wondered about that because, generally Jiangshi, they don't always in their portrayals, but they have this like little paper thing over their face, which I was kind of like, that's a little ridiculous, but it's necromancers, huh?
Yeah, necromancy, dude. It's all about that black magic.
Ooh, yeah, dude. At some point, we need to get into necromancy. Not like, I mean, in the podcast.
No, I'm already doing necromancy. It doesn't even matter, dude. You want in or what?
I mean, it could make for very good material, and we could like record all the audio, and that will be our last episode if we can even get it online.
Oh, it will get online one way or the other.
It'll be the one before episode. It'll be episode 68. Right before episode 69. Nick was right when the aliens finally take you.
Yeah, exactly. And then the one, exactly. 68 is going to be the one where I do necromancy live and recorded. Aliens get word of it, come down and ask me to become their leader. That's how I want my life to go.
I love this, dude. What do we actually do reach those episodes? There's a lot we have to live up to.
Yeah, we'll just keep pushing it back.
Yeah. Good idea.
The corpses would be bound upright by their ankles, wrists, and knees, and they would be prodded with a stick or directed by a drum as they hop their way home. And again, we'll be talking in a little bit more about this whole hopping business we keep bringing up when it comes to the Jiangshi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very. We'll get to it.
Now that we've discussed, how one can become a Jiangshi if you were ever so interested in doing so, you fucking psychopath. Let's talk about their physical appearance and abilities so you can detect them and protect yourself if you ever find yourself in China.
I don't think. Never mind.
But I didn't break any rules.
No, it's just I don't think you need to be Chinese to become a or do you?
Hey man, look, it's a Chinese folklore thing. I assume that it happens in China. I assume that's like a regional monster they have over there, you know?
True. Yeah, I guess.
Like if you become a vampire in America, you're probably a vampire, right?
Yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I realize I'm literally arguing the logistics of a fictional creature. So I'm just going
whoa.
Yeah. A creature that does not exist. So there's no point.
We cannot argue this early on in the episode, all right? We'll save it. Save it for later.
Oh, fine.
Okay.
Push
my buttons like that all the time.
Hey man, because I'm on a roll today. I'm just feeling all kinds of aggressive.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Let's continue with the episode. Okay. And then if you're still feeling frustrated, you know, if you still got a little rock in your underwear and you're just getting all angry, we can argue about this in a little bit. All right.
Fine. Okay. Yeah. I guess we can just go into it. So
For
continue.
now, keep your mind open. Pretend like it's real. I want you to engulf yourself in this.
Got to put myself in the zone of one could say getting into character of somebody who actually believes in this.
Welcome to my life. All right. So let's get into Jiangshi and what they look like. They have very pale skin, kind of as you would expect the living dead to have, right? Like when you picture a vampire.
Yes.
White hair, flowy white hair, kind of like that old bitch on that show, Betty White, right? On Golden Girls.
The immortal Betty White.
Things I would do. I've watched her eat a video of a hot dog before. You know
that? How was it?
It was cool.
Yeah. Was the technique all there?
Yeah. Right. And they're also covered in green moss or fungus due to decomposition. And the amount of moss or fungus is dependent on the severity of decomposition.
Ew. So that's kind of like it's sort of like a Last of Us kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Super long tongues, right? Like super snaky long tongues. And I mean, how much more I can say about that? It sounds like a good time.
Wow, all this talk of decomposition, Betty White, and long tongues. This is a lot saucier of an episode than I expected.
Same. Yeah, who would have fucking thought, right?
Yeah, it's up there with the Incubus and Succubus.
They also have long, sharp fingernails and fangs, kind of like you would expect a vampire to have.
Ooh, for all y'alls who like the scratches.
And last but not least, they can usually be identified by what they are said to wear, and that is the uniform of a Qing Dynasty official. And it's hard to describe what it looks like, but if you guys look it up, it's spelled Qing. You would recognize it off the bat.
Oh, yeah. And I thought, and this is where I kind of got to jump in, and I invented a segment just so I can go off on this. I call it AT's AP World History because it's Qing Dynasty. God damn it. I can't say these things. Qing Dynasty. And I thought, well, why is that? Like, why are they? Because the Jiangshi are dressed like a specific era of China's history. And why is that?
So really quick, everybody, before Tasker continues, I want you all to break out a different notebook. Okay. So we have a notebook that you've already been writing in called The Truth, right? And then you have a notebook that you're now going to entitle History Lessons 101 by Alex Tasker. Okay. As if you were in quarantine school, and you are now. Okay. Continue.
Oh, yeah. And by that, I mean, this is probably where everyone's going to fall asleep. So I'll try to make it as impactful as possible. But I thought this was really cool and interesting. That, okay. The reason why
I'm looking forward to it. I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Thank you. So likely the reason why, because every single one of the Jiangshi is in this like Qing Dynasty official outfit. Likely that's because there was actually a huge anti-Qing and anti-Manchu sentiment. The Qing Dynasty was mostly made up of the Manchu people. So we got to rewind a little bit. We got to take a little glimpse into Chinese history. I learned all of this in like 2 hours. So I'm sure there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of like, it's a lot more complicated, but basically there was a dynasty in China where the Mongols actually came in and conquered their shit. So like the Chinese were pretty pissed off. This was the Yuan dynasty, spelled Yuan. And then that's
the Huan dynasty, man.
Yes. where people from Mexico flew over to China and took over.
Oh man, that sounds awesome, bro.
Mm-hmm. How they flew back in the 1500s, you ask? How were the pyramids made? We just, fucking
aliens. We've talked about
it. God damn it. Yes. So Chinese were not too happy about being ruled by Mongols. So there was the Han Chinese, which was at the time one of the biggest ethnic group in China. They overthrew the Mongols and began the Ming Dynasty. Ming Dynasty didn't do too hot. They closed off all their borders because China and Japan at the time were big, like with xenophobia, so they didn't really like people outside of their country. They cut everybody off. They had a bunch of decreased trade. There was a bunch of droughts. There was a thing called the Little Ice Age. Did you know about that?
The Ritter Ice Age.
God, no accents.
Shit, sorry. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, though I'm surprised you made it as long as you did. I'm actually very impressed.
I just saw the L's and I had to take it. I had to take the chance.
Yeah, did you feel good about your gamble?
Yeah, actually, I feel good. I feel like I've for freedom of speech. I did it.
Yeah, that's very American of you, man. I'm glad you can exercise your rights because that's one thing I cannot take away from you.
It's damn straight, dude. What, are you gonna take my fucking guns next? You think you are Obama and taking my guns? No, I don't think so. You gotta come grab them from my cold dead hands, boy.
God, especially if Red Dead Redemption 3 comes out, then the right to bear arms is yeah, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what you'll do.
Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted. Continue with the Little Ice Age. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all good. So Little Ice Age was, as the term suggests, a small portion of time where shit got really cold for a while. And because there was this unusual amount of cold hitting during like the winters and stuff, a lot of crops stopped growing properly, and a lot of crops that they relied on stopped growing properly. So there was a huge famine that began because of that. Then they got hit with an epidemic, not too different from what we're going through right now. So everyone's sick. Nobody wants to go outside. And then to make matters,
okay, sorry.
What's up?
I'm not gonna say anything about the epidemic, man. I almost said something, but then I remember rules 1 through 3 that you made earlier.
We have rules for this. Show respect.
All right.
But it got worse for them because in 1556 there was a giant earthquake called the Jiangshi earthquake, I think. And there was also peasant rebellions because shit was just going so badly. So this is the Ming Dynasty. So we haven't quite reached the Qing Dynasty yet. The Qing Dynasty was formed by, there was a multiracial group that formed Manchuria. And that was backed by the Mongols, who were probably pretty pissed that they lost China. So it became this huge rebel force that ended up conquering the Ming Dynasty. And that's kind of the way the dynasties work, is like you last until basically you get either overthrown or the people rebel. And that happened a lot in China. So there's this huge rebellion from the Manchurians, and Beijing fell. The final Ming leader ended up hanging himself because much of his military defected. And, I'm sure that was pretty humiliating. So actually one of the criteria of becoming a Jiangshi, so who knows, he might have become one.
Yeah.
And just something to point out too. See, China is not one singular ethnic group. It's a whole country. It's a whole, there's so many different parts of this country, so there's not, being Chinese is that's a really big blanket term. There's a lot of different types of Chinese people, so
it's crazy.
Yeah. So there's a little info tidbit there. But so Qing Dynasty finally takes over, but their officials were super known for being really corrupt and had a reputation for being super bloodthirsty and having little regard for human life. Initially, though, under their rule, commerce and science they're killing it. They were prospering super hard. Their government was great. But the problem is, since everything was going so well, population skyrocketed, and they did not know how to deal with that. And with all the corruption that came with success, that also made things worse. But also, too, the Han Chinese people never fully accepted the Qing's rule. So they were pretty pissed, and they were looking to kind of take them down. Now, their downfall kind of began with they had an opium war. I thought you'd be interested in that.
They had a war about opium?
Damn right they did, with Great Britain.
So what was it, over picking opium and doing it, or were they doing it the winner gets to do all the opium, or what was the ground rules for this war?
I didn't get super deep into it, but they had a trade deal with Britain that wasn't really going too well, and they didn't really know, it was something about they started trading them opium, but then they started to get addicted to opium, and they stopped wanting to trade it with them. So Britain was like, dude, give us the fucking out because we're addicted too. And like China ended up starting like trading off like their silver. And I think that like people started hoarding their shit. So it caused like economic strife. And then Britain finally said, fuck it, like trade with us. Otherwise, we're going to fucking attack you. And they said no. There was 2 opium wars and China lost both.
Suckers. That's what happens when you get high on your own supply, man.
Exactly.
Right,
dude,
can't pick up a rifle.
Dude, Biggie Smalls taught us that, man. 10 crack commandments. It's like
fucking right, dude. I mean, I'm more of a Tupac man, but
you know what? That's an argument we could take. I'm Biggie all the way, but it's an argument we can take a different time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But so being that they lost 2 wars, it became pretty clear that like they were weak and that they had openings, that this huge nation had weaknesses. Because, you know, China's known for being one of the biggest land masses in the world. So everyone was like, oh, we don't want to fuck with them. But they lost. So there was like a bunch of, they had to sign they were called the unequal treaties, where basically a ton of countries started just jumping in and just like taking their land and like fucking them over because they realized that they had an opening. So China wasn't so happy about having Western influence. So they basically just started murdering anybody Western or European in their country. And it was overall a pretty big shit show. So they tried to like make reforms at the end, but like eventually so many groups had a revolution and overturned it. And that was the last dynasty. The Qing dynasty was the last dynasty. After that, they became the Republic of China, which eventually suffered another communist revolution, and then they became the People's Republic of China, which it is today. So
Winnie the Pooh and everything, huh?
Yes, sir. So why did I go through all of that? Why did I explain that to you? This has nothing to do with zombies. Well, that's because the Qing dynasty blew it hard, but mostly the fact that under their rule, and also the fact they were corrupt as shit, they allowed themselves to get controlled by foreigners and have Western influence. And that really just completely like destroyed their way of life. And this was the first dynasty that really like allowed that to happen. So Jiangshi being in Qing dynasty garb makes sense because they kind of were really shitty. They were the last one and they blew it on all kinds of fronts. And I think they're just really embarrassed by them. But also, there was an idea that during the Qing dynasty, that's when the idea of a zombie actually first started to become popular in that culture. So it makes sense that that's sort of just the time period they were invented. So that's just what caught on. Also, they can say that it takes 100 years to become a zombie. So you can't become one right immediately when you died. So maybe when the zombie first became popularized 100 years ago, that was the Qing dynasty. So also made sense of why they're in the robes. But also, too, Qing dynasty robes are really cheap and basic and easy to produce for low-budget horror films. So, yeah, that's my brief little crash course on Chinese history, why they're probably wearing those particular robes, and why the Qing dynasty doesn't really have a super good reputation with the Chinese people at the time. I don't know their current view on it, because, I mean, it's probably just a part of history now. But, I mean, yeah, that's what I was able to gather.
Thank you, Professor Tasker.
Oh, dude, that's hard. That's really hard. I don't know if I can become a teacher.
Oh, that was good, man. I think everybody out there enjoyed that. We got to get the history behind it, right?
Yeah, that you know, a little background, yeah, because I know like almost nothing about Chinese history, so that's why, you know, yeah, it was fun. It was fun to dive into it.
I know nothing about Chinese history either, so I do appreciate it. The closest thing to Chinese culture I know is that there's a Panda Express like 2 blocks from my house. That's just about it. Oh, and also there's a. Okay, never mind. All right, look. Okay, so fuck. These rules suck. You know that?
Yeah,
I got bangers of jokes ready to go, and you just take it from me. You take it from me.
I can feel you sweating off the other line because we are still doing this remotely.
Okay. So let's do a little bit more on their appearance and abilities.
Right. Yeah. So we're no longer in history. We're back to the fictional. I mean, the real world.
Okay. I know that you slipped up, but that was messed up, buddy. It's not fictional, right? It's the truth.
Yeah, that's right. I'm believing it for a little bit.
Good. Now, due to rigor mortis from death, their arms are permanently outstretched, kind of how you would imagine a mummy or a zombie to walk around, in the talking pictures, like when you see them in the movies.
Ah, the talkies, eh?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, see those Jiangshi hopping around while they're wearing paper on their face.
Yeah, I went to the Orient the other day. I came back.
That is historically accurate, though. I'm not digging on you. That is actually what people said back then.
Yes. See, I'm making light of how racist our grandparents are.
Yes, and to some of you still are.
Yeah, you know what? My grandpa still says when he's referring. Okay, dude. And the worst part of this story is he married like a Japanese woman, right? Because I'm part Japanese.
Right.
My grandpa still says Oriental when he's referring to Asian people.
Ouch.
Just like, dude. What are you doing, man?
Now I understand that is a like offensive phrase, but like, is that like a heavy hitter one? Like you say it or accidentally slip it and like you're gonna get like your ass beat, or like I don't know. I just don't. I'm not entirely sure how offensive is that.
I don't know. Don't know if it's a heavy hitter. I think it's just not. It's not okay. What they would call PC. In this day and age, but like it's just like it's don't say it. I would just say don't say it.
Don't test it out. Like no, I mean that's not the message I'm trying to send. This is because it comes from a place of curiosity.
Yeah, the only reason Nick says it is because he's a professional. Okay, he's a professional at saying things that he shouldn't say.
You're also part Japanese, so
and I'm also part Japanese, right? So I can call myself that if I want, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, exactly. So. As of course, we always condone just be respectful to other people. That's a pretty good baseline.
Yeah. Come on, guys, it's not that hard, right?
Yeah, just yeah. Sorry.
And also due to rigor mortis, their joints throughout their body don't work properly. So as you could imagine, their knees and hips don't work the way they used to when they were alive. So instead of walking, they hop about like little bunnies. That is where we get the nickname hopping vampires from.
I really like that little detail about them, of how like they kind of have that classic zombie pose, with standing up straight and they have their arms outstretched and stuff. But I find it funny to me that I never thought to consider that that's just rigor mortis. Like it's because their muscles are petrified now.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Now, I know we've been talking about the Jiangshi and how they're vampires, but we haven't really talked about the details on why they are vampires. So let's get into it real quick. Jiangshi aren't like traditional vampires. Traditional sanguinarian vampires feed off of others' blood in order to obtain subsistence. But Jiangshi do not need to do that.
Wait, what does sanguinarian mean?
Sanguinarian is... now I did kind of steal that term just to refer to this vampire or the vampires we're talking about in comparison as blood drinkers.
Mm-hmm.
But sanguinarians are vampires who drink blood.
Oh wow, I didn't even know there was a word for it. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm a professional, man. Remember, I've been saying this, dude. I know all about this goofy shit. I'm down with it.
Well, you've certainly proven it for sure.
They are similar to what we call in the Western world vampires, which is a bunch of hippy dippy bullshit. But on a side note, psychic vampires are still kind of dope.
Ooh,
you see
that
Jiangshi, what's that?
I was gonna say it's just making me think of like Pokemon and like Abra, but like with a vampire twist.
Yeah, I could see that if they sucked people's auras.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways. Sorry, I'm gonna start talking about Pokemon. I'm just trying to stop myself.
Oh God, no, don't. Okay, no, not on this podcast. Look, if you want to make a Pokemon podcast and a Digimon podcast and a fucking a Beyblade podcast, man, you could do whatever you want to do. That's all good. If you start talking about Dodecamon and fucking his buddy, that I'm already getting frustrated.
I know somebody who is like captured every single Pokemon from every single generation of every single game since Pokemon Red.
All right, remember, we're not talking about it. And if you're listening, then I just have one thing to say to him, man. Congratulations. Now, can you get a job with that? Good
job. Anyways, moving on to our psychic vampire Pokemon.
Jiangshi feed off of people's qi, which is the life force of all living things in traditional Chinese culture. But don't let the lack of blood make you feel any safer. Stealing your life energy or qi directly can be a quicker death than the slow drain of blood if you let the Jiangshi get the chance.
So this is so they're not biting into you, they're just straight up absorbing your life force, huh?
Yeah, like they'll latch onto you with their hands. They can just will just suck you so good, dude. They will just suck your qi.
Suck it right at the tip, huh?
Yes, they'll just get every last drop of your qi into them. That's what they want. That's what they're after.
Every last sticky drop of qi, huh?
Sick fucks.
I mean, their name does mean stiff.
Hey, good point.
I mean, who
Chinese
knows?
are perverts, huh?
They could be. I think being perverted is just a natural part of just being human.
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, to look upon a procession of them walking is considered bad luck. And you know what? Damn, I'll tell you what. No shit, that's bad luck. If I see a procession of Jiangshi walking towards me, I'd say my day just got pretty bad luck as well. So that sucks.
Yeah, I think just seeing any procession of any sort of like undead creature, it's like, well, maybe it's not only is it just bad luck in and of itself, but like then you walk away and don't buy a lottery ticket after you've seen them is basically, I think, what we're trying to say.
Exactly. Because you're not going to be able to. Your chi is going to be sucked out of you.
Oh, yeah. And then you're going to, I don't know, you're somehow going to like, I was going to say lose money, but you actually do lose money by buying a lottery ticket. So I'm going to stop myself because I'm confusing myself as usual.
Tasker, you're so cute. Okay, now that we've gone over everything you need to know about the Jiangshi and their history, let's finally get into what is most important. How to protect yourself from these chi-sucking bastards. And believe me, there are many ways to do it.
So now we're at defense against the dark arts. That's what we're doing, right?
Never talk about that.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I know what you're referencing, okay? I'm not as dumb as I look sometimes, but I know exactly what you just referenced, dude. And I will not stand for a Lord of the Rings reference in a podcast that has to do with this cool shit. All right. Again, I don't want to have to bring this stuff up, but man, you keep dropping these references, dude. Talking about Bilbo's and like, I don't know. What were you talking about?
We're talking about how to not get your thick key sucked out of you.
Oh, right. I keep getting distracted when you keep talking about the dark arts and I don't know, dude, there's spells, you know what I mean?
Hey man, you're the one who's into all this stuff and you just don't like the popular literary version of it, huh?
Right. I do have a problem.
Yeah, nah, that's okay. That's why we have this podcast. It's just as much as therapeutic as it is fun.
Right. So first off, guys, Jiangshi are distracted by small objects if thrown on the ground. And much like the Rougarou, which we talked about in episode 2, Electric Boogaloo, they will stop to count the object, giving you enough time to run away or do whatever you need to do to save yourself. So they're dumb. They're just as dumb as the Rougarou.
Oh, that's right. I actually completely forgot about that. Yeah, Rougarous, they like to count things.
They do.
Sorry, that was like the weakest observation I've made this entire podcast. But anyways, go on.
I'm glad you're just making connections. I'm glad things are clicking with you, Tasker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here. I'm learning just as much as our viewers are. I don't know anything about this shit. I usually don't even care about this shit. But you know what? I'm taking an attempt to dive into this world and understand it a little bit more to become a better artist. Hopefully.
Well, hopefully this helps you out, buddy. Another way that you can protect yourself is by putting a 15-centimeter piece of wood nailed to the width of the bottom of a door, and that will stop the Jiangshi from entering through that door.
Does it just like keep on bapping into it?
You know, I'm not a carpenter. I'm not exactly sure what is going on here, but I think that's it. I think it's literally just a doorstop. So if you guys have a doorstop, you should be okay. Okay,
so this isn't like Left 4 Dead zombies. Like these things can barely move. They're kind of stupid. It's like a I was gonna say it's like an ant if you just like put a little like well no they could just climb over it, but it's like they're like a dumb little bug.
Yeah,
they're a lot bigger. Yeah,
they're definitely not the highest threat in the world. I would say that for sure.
Okay.
Mirrors, like other vampire-like creatures, are a part of the legend for the Jiangshi as well. But instead of not being able to see themselves in the mirror like traditional vampires, Jiangshi can see themselves and are actually afraid of their own reflections. So you could hold up like a little personal sized mirror to them and they'll just kind of run the other way. We're so dumb. It's like my dog does the same fucking thing.
Making the sudden like horrifying realization that he is in fact a dog.
Yeah. And then he's going to realize he's a vampire zombie and he's going to go cry somewhere in a corner. It's beautiful. It's perfect.
Glad you take such good care of him.
According to Chinese tradition, peach trees are the, quote, essence of the five auras, unquote, and have the power to repel evil spirits and entities. So any item made from the wood of a peach tree can be used to fight the Jiangshi.
Oh, so that's like silver with werewolves, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Call of a rooster can scare away the Jiangshi as well. And that is because when a rooster does his little be here all week,
perfect.
It's an indication that the sun is rising, which frightens the Jiangshi away.
Oh.
Because they only operate at night.
Right, because that's right. We're dealing with kind of a low functioning zombie type. So it's a pretty easy
spectrum.
Yeah, entirely possible.
Fire, right? Just an obvious one because it burns what remains of the corpse. So if they're able to dig up the corpse, find who it is, burn it, you have no more Jiangshi and you're good to go. And you got some fucking meat you could eat right there too.
Ugh, I wouldn't recommend it, but
I mean,
fire.
Look, if they're gonna eat, fuck, never mind.
Yeah, well, I mean, dude, even if you have just regular meat, just leaving it uncovered all night. This thing has probably been walking around in the dirt all night. So even if it's somewhat edible, it's That's also cannibalism. Don't eat the Jiangshis.
Hey, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they're gonna eat bats and shit, maybe they'll eat, like a.
We're not talking about that.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Just continue your spiel.
All right. Also, the hooves of a black donkey. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but I assume you just use the hoof as like some kind of weapon. And I don't know why it has to be a black donkey. In my opinion, it's a little racist, but it is what it is. And that's what they do over there. So another interesting one is vinegar. Okay, because and you know what, and I can kind of get behind that because in all honesty, who the fuck isn't repelled by vinegar? So
fuck yeah, dude, I can't stand it.
I like it if it's on my French fries. Otherwise, I can't stand the shit.
Dude, I tried that thing for a while. Where you're supposed to do like a shot of like apple cider vinegar every morning, and supposedly it like really helps with weight loss and stuff. And yeah, man, it's the worst. It was I hated it.
I tried it too. I tried those apple cider vinegar shots. It was pretty fucking gross. So
yeah. So I mean, it felt like pretty badass to just like take it. Well, there's a way you can dilute it with water and put a little bit of honey in it, but then at that point you're having sugar, so it's like kind of defeats the. Anyways, we're not here for diet advice, not yet.
No, not yet. There will be a podcast coming up that we'll just do a whole other one on nutrition and pseudoscience and bro science. You guys will love it.
Yeah, help all of our listeners to, it's for our listeners who listen to us at the gym once they reopen.
Dude, the gym's better reopen. I'm losing my goddamn mind here, and I'm losing my gains.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Dude, it's going to be crazy to go back and you go to the gym, you see those guys with the fucking 20,000 plates on their bench, but to see the same guys come back and sheepishly just putting on one.
Suckers.
That's the best time to go back. But anyways.
Another way is by using glutinous rice. And I don't mean glutinous as in it doesn't mean it's gluten content. It's literally compared to glue because of how sticky the rice is. So it's particularly just sticky rice. And it's a very popular rice all across Asia. So it's nice to know that if you're ever anywhere in China, you'll usually have a weapon wherever there's an open restaurant. There you go. You get a bowl of rice and you shove it in his face.
And it just annoys it, or it hurts it, or it scares it.
I think it just doesn't know what it is. I think it's just like, this dude just jizzed on me. Did sticky stuff all over my face, probably running to the bathroom, but it takes him half a year to get to the bathroom. By the time he gets there to wash it off his face, you're probably like, what, a couple miles down the road, you're good to go.
That's actually really smart. I don't think, I guess you could do that with really anything. I guess it doesn't have to be rice, but okay. All right. Well, I'm down.
Also, the chime of a handbell will also repel the Jiangshi. For those who don't know, a handbell is exactly what it sounds like. All right. So if you are still hooked on phonics and you're having issues with what a handbell is, just Google it. All right. I'm not going to explain to you what a handbell is.
Yeah. It's a bell that you ring with your hand.
There you go. So the blood of a black dog. And it's not recommended by us Westerners. We're not endorsing you get the blood of a black dog if you think that you're being attacked by a vampire. Right, but it's your life, man. Do what the fuck you got to do. If you're being attacked by a vampire and you literally think the only way to protect yourself is with the blood of a black dog, I want you to take your dog. If it's black, you got to do it.
Yeah, that's a hard sacrifice to make, but
don't do it. Don't do it. There's people out there that might actually don't do it. Don't hurt the dog. The dog didn't do anything to you, right? We don't eat dogs in America. Like, so
okay, Nick.
I mean, okay, all right.
You're on thin ice, buddy.
Fuck.
Yeah, but you're trying. But you're trying, and that's what matters. And I'm proud of you for it. But I'm pointing my finger right now, man.
I'm trying because I want to respect them.
Yeah,
respecting the culture, you know. Respecting the culture. I understand that they're going through a lot right now, but all right, I'll stop.
Yeah, but I do actually have to add, I think why the animals with the black fur tend to be the ones that repel is it just makes me think of how like, you know, how black cats tend to have more of a like supernatural like aura to them or something. Usually it's like more on like the witchcraft side. So maybe it's sort of maybe comparable to that. Maybe that's why it's like a black donkey or a black dog, in order to like, I don't know if there's that sort of black fur has a connection to spirituality or like magic or something like that.
It's a pretty astute observation, Tasker. I think that you might be onto something there.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it, because at first it just made no sense, but I don't know, maybe.
Oh, and here's another one, guys. An axe, which is another obvious one, because you can just use it to decapitate the Jiangshi before it gets to suck your chi super hard.
I think an axe is a pretty good defense mechanism against most supernatural creatures and regular natural creatures.
Exactly, but not endorsed. We're not
endorsed. Nope. Don't do violent things, man. Just stay at home. Just, you know, watch a movie, watch Netflix, dude. Like, or Hulu or Crunchyroll is actually. Did you know you could get it? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to sponsor them.
Holy shit! If you were about to drop a sponsor for Crunchyroll on here, I would have stopped the recording. Just left the room. I would have left the recording and left the room.
See, that's my dream. One day to just get, even if it's just one sponsored Crunchyroll drop on this podcast. That's like my life goal is complete. I've done what I needed to do.
Burn the money that they give me.
Climb as high as you can dream.
Another weapon that you can use against a Jiangshi is a broom. But if I could be honest with you guys, and I think Tasker might agree with me here, just go with the axe. Like, if you have choice.
That sounds like a comedy bit where it's like you're getting like cornered by the Jiangshi. It's like they're all hopping towards you. You're panicking. You're looking around. You already know you got bad luck just by looking at them. And you see suddenly up against the wall, you see the axe, you see the broom, and it's like a POV, and you see him just like reach for the broom instead.
It says game over. I mean, hey, apparently it works somehow. So if choose your poison, I would go with the axe. I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah, but I can understand why you'd be afraid of the broom. I mean, whenever somebody throws a broom in my hand, I know then the next half hour of my life is not going to be fun. So, maybe they feel the same.
Your point. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm. It's possible, but they are pretty low. Well, they are low functioning. So maybe that's exactly what maybe it just reminds them of all the chores they had to do when they were alive.
Oh shit! Yeah, they're like, I don't want to do them anymore.
Not a bad Jiangshi voice.
Thank you. Is that what that was? I was. You said low functioning, so I just went straight to that. I'm sorry.
God damn it.
There are many, many more. Okay, it's a long list of different ways that you can protect yourself and defend yourself against a Jiangshi. But we gave you guys a lot. And if you're not able to choose at least one of those things, or if one of those things isn't available to you, don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, at that point,
we've given you what you need.
Exactly. And the hope is that you remember it if you ever come face to face with a creature that's never going to attack you because they don't exist. And
God.
Also, if we're saying that there's particularly if they're what is it? Oh my god, it's just such a basic word I'm forgetting right now. Exclusive to China, well then most of the world doesn't really have to worry about it. But if you're in China and you're listening to this, listen to it now, absorb it now, because after this episode, we will probably be banned forever.
You know, Tester, I will do a little bit of a rebuttal. I'm gonna keep it ambiguous. There was other things that were exclusive to China that the world had to end up worrying about, by the way.
Nick, rule number 1.
Okay, buddy. All right, I'm sorry. All right. It just slipped out.
Yeah, I think actually that's not as bad as I thought. I think we made it through this entire thing with I think you only got 4 or 5 strikes. That's significantly less than I expected.
I did a good job. All right. I'm sweaty from it because I'm holding back. Like I'm physically, I'm sweating right now. But it was worth it. I mean, I didn't offend that many people. Majority of our listeners are in America.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's like, I don't know. What am I supposed to do if they like, look, I don't like being cornered. All right. I don't like being told like, hey, you can't be saying this. You can't be saying that. It's like, yeah, I don't mean everything I say, but I understand it offends some people and it slips out sometimes. And yeah, maybe I said some things today. Yeah. What about it? What, you want to fight? You know what I mean?
Well, save the fighting for after the quarantine because they could use biological warfare on you.
Oh shit. Yeah. They could just cough on me.
True. I've been watching some clips of like what police have been having to deal with and stuff. And like, dude, there's like drunk people that they like arrest, and the drunk people start like trying to like cough on them and stuff. And I think that's considered like a felony or something like that, like assaulting a police officer.
Totally, dude. Yeah, everybody's pooping their pampers about coughing today. So like if you cough it even jokingly like on somebody, and like I don't know why you do that. It's not like a funny bit. It's not funny. Like unless you knew the person, but I mean they'll freak out, they'll call the cops. You'll probably get in trouble just because of everything going around right now, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Which is great. Well, it's not great at all, but it just made me back in my my job of that before I, got laid off and I'm on unemployment.
Oof.
Yeah. Fucking love it.
Let's switch places. Do you want to be an essential employee and work like 50, 60 hours a week?
I don't at all. So actually, you know what? No, I need to appreciate my situation a little better. Essential employee Nick. That sounds like a superhero almost.
Dun, 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 dun. Somebody cough on me so I can go home.
It's like there's this comic going around where it's just this guy, he hops in, he's like, hey, want to see how hard I can cry? And then he just like shoots like tears like at like fire department water speeds.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that comic.
But hey, if you're an essential employee, half of us here understand what you're feeling.
And thank you for your service, guys. It is like, okay, and I'm going to drop character a little bit because I know it's a fucking shit show out there. My boys and girls on the front lines out there, I don't care where you work. If you're at a gas station, if you're at a grocery store, if you're at a bank, all the places that are open. Obviously, I'm not going to just leave out the the emergency responders, firefighters, police, obviously, like those are the people you first think of, right? But we can't forget about the grocery store workers, and we can't forget about the people at the banks and the gas stations and our mail people. You know what I mean? Those are the people that are out there. Yeah, they're wearing a mask, but like on an actual level, how much does a mask actually help you? So like, keep it up, yo. You know what I mean? Keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully this will be over soon. and you guys can go back to like, enjoying your lives and not being the only people out there working and just getting bombarded right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we can finally go back to not having to record remotely and get that HG spick and spam quality.
Yeah, let's get that back. I miss that smoothness now. When I re-listen to our episodes, like okay, and just as a little heads up, guys, we're trying a new way of recording today. So if it sounds a little bit better than it has the last few episodes, that's why. I know it's not going to be what you're used to with our whole recording setup that we had, but if it does sound a little bit different, we are trying to work on ways to, increase the quality a little bit while we're still recording remotely.
Yeah, because we thought we were only going to have to do this like twice, and this is now what, our 5th episode in quarantine.
Something like that, man.
Yeah, so we're trying new things. We're wiggling around. We're trying to make this work as well as possible because that's what that's the human spirit, man. We are adaptable. We find a way to make things happen and work and and stutter on a recorded program so y'all can understand how much trouble it is for me to speak.
Yeah, and also really quick, guys, just want to give a quick shout out to Justin for the kind words on the Facebook page. Stuff like that, reaching out to us really means a lot to us. It makes us think that we're actually getting out to you guys and making an impact on your day, and really like seeing that kind of stuff, man. So thanks, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave comments if you want to. We check our Facebook pretty consistently, and we will respond to you. So it's like, if you have anything to say to us, like, please do. Like, we love hearing from you guys. We love hearing any sort of feedback. Like Nick said, we know it's so we know y'all are actually getting something out of this, and that makes us feel pretty awesome. It makes us want to make more episodes.
Exactly. But if it is something that has to do with maybe the comments I made on this episode, then I plead the fifth, then I'm not going to respond.
Yep,
but I still love you.
And Nick will delete and ban you.
Yeah, because I'm the boss of me.
Very communist China of you.
How come every time we do an episode, for some reason, communism comes up, and I tend to agree a little bit more with it. What's going on here?
Yeah, I've noticed we have a particular taste in vampires and communism and something. Yeah, outside. Yeah.
Count Chocula episode in the works, everybody. We're still doing it. We found some fantastic fan fiction that we're going to utilize, and we're going to contact the authors and see if we can use bits and pieces as quotes. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we like to appeal to as many audiences as we can, and swingers is our main target right now. We really want this stuff to be as juicy as possible because that's a whole untapped market that I feel deserves a little recognition.
Yeah, because like for a while now, we were talking about doing the Count Chocula episode as like an actual episode about its origins, which we're still going to do, but we're trying to make a second kind of a separate episode where it's just Count Chocula smut and kind of sell that as for a profit. And then we're going to save the outline for the actual episode for the podcast. So we have two things going on right now with Count Chocula. That's why it's taking a little longer than usual.
And we're working on trying to, have you ever heard of the brown note?
Oh, I have.
Yeah, we're trying to get our vocal cords to hit a frequency that's not the brown note, but like a note that like just instigates just like sexual desire, So we're trying to like make sure that's good and ready. So when we do Count Chocula smut fan fiction episode, you can put it on with your candles and have a really good night,
Absolutely. Get that oil ready,
But thank you everyone for listening. Of course, if you're listening to us or have access to iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. Send us a review if you'd like to. That would be amazing. We'd love the feedback. Please follow us on Spotify, Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. You can probably find us at CEO TPK. Instagram, also CEO TPK. Twitter, CEO TPK1. Join our Facebook, please, and also Discord as usual, where we'll chat with you there. Send us memes, etc., which is discord.gg, lowercase b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X.
Oh yeah, everybody, and just remember, the truth is out there.
No, it's not. Yeah, I'm so over it, dude. Like, it'll be so nice to finally record in person, but